Hey there, folks, how you doing? So, today I wanted to talk about something that's been going on for quite a while now. Now, I don't know if you ever really noticed, but Hollywood's been kind of doing this thing where they pick some up-and-coming unknown actor, seemingly at random, and pretty much put him in every production possible, trying to make him the next big thing, in some hopes that maybe that they'll click with the general audience. And sometimes it's pretty successful. I mean, that Jenny Ortega chick and that Timothy Chevrolet seem pretty popular. However, not every actor is as fortunate. I mean, one name that comes to mind is Sam Worthington. You see, back in 2009, Sam Worthington literally appeared out of nowhere and was all of a sudden starring in all these big-time Hollywood action hits. I mean, he was in Avatar, Terminator, and both Clash and Wrath of the Titans. But apparently he never really seemed to gel with the audience, and so just as fast as he arrived on the scene, he pretty much disappeared like a fart in the wind, right next to Thomas Jane and Aaron Eckhart. Remember them? And remember Jai Courtney? Remember when they tried to make Jai Courtney a thing?
Stop trying to make Jai Courtney happen. It's not gonna happen.
And well, back in the late 80s, we had another flash-in-the-pan actor who tried to make his big mark in Hollywood, only to fail miserably. And that actor's name is Matthew Modine. Now, you probably most remember Matthew Modine as Private Joker from the movie Full Metal Jacket. And even though he was pretty much the lead actor in the film, I always considered him to be the weakest part of the movie. However, the movie did fairly well at the time, and it gave Matthew Modine more leading role opportunities, which lasted all about 10 minutes before he was demoted down to supporting actor purgatory. But in his very short tenure as a leading man, he did star in one movie in particular that I wanted to take a look at, and I think it pretty much sums up exactly why Matthew Modine's time at the top never really lasted too long. And the movie I'm referring to is a very obscure and forgotten film called Gross Anatomy.
Why do you want to be a doctor?
Well, I want to make lots of money.
Gross Anatomy is the story of a first-year medical student who ends up falling for his lab partner, who's played by Daphne Zuniga. You know, Princess Vespa from Spaceballs.
Nobody knows but Jesus.
And it was directed by Tom Eberhardt. That's right, the Tom Eberhardt. The man who gave us Night of the Comet and Captain Ron. So, yeah. Anyway, let's just get this crap over with. So we start at the beginning, where Joe Slovak is running the proverbial gauntlet of college deans as he tries to get accepted into any medical school that'll take him. And he's not exactly wowing them with his winning charm.
If you were forced to pick a specialty at this very moment, what would it be?
Gynecology.
And after many failed attempts, he's finally accepted into some random university, which the writers of the movie were just too lazy to name. I mean, seriously, they never even tell you the name of the college that this kid's attending. And soon he hits it off with his new roommate.
Hi, I'm David Schreiner.
And we can already tell that we're in for that classic odd couple situation.
I asked for a roommate who was quiet, and serious, and neat. How did you describe yourself?
I lied.
And then it's off to orientation,
Welcome to medical school.
where Joe's already impressing his classmates, including this chick named Lori.
Thanks.
And then it's time for Gross Anatomy.
Gross human anatomy. The one thing you've dreaded from the moment you made the decision to come here.
And for someone who spends every day around corpses, this professor seems pretty chipper.
Welcome. Come in. Come in.
And now it's time to dissect a corpse.
Who's gonna dissect first?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Joe and Lori then get better acquainted after class.
So are you gonna ask me up for a cup of tea or coffee or something?
And somehow she's able to resist his raw animal magnetism.
Good night.
And over the next few weeks, Joe and his team learn how to do doctor stuff. Meanwhile, old Joe keeps impressing young Lori. But then Joe's cavalier attitude in class starts getting him and his team in trouble with not Sigourney Weaver.
Is it clear to you that the strict policy of this class is to confine your work to the assigned part of the body?
I got bored.
Bored.
Yes.
And so now Joe's teammates are kind of pissed, and rightly so. And then Joe shows his class and not Sigourney Weaver that maybe he knows his shit after all.
Intercostals.
How many pairs of intercostals?
9. Am I right?
Yeah.
Later that night, Joe's roommate has a Felix Unger moment.
It's a 40-watt bulb. I tried to get a 20 at the store, but they didn't have them. You know, the room only seems bright because it was dark before. And I asked for 20-watt bulbs. They said they would have them in this morning, and they didn't even...
And then Joe and one of his buddies get assigned hospital work, where they just get in everybody's way like a couple of useless sacks of shit. And then it's time to get rejected by Lori yet again.
We are going to date, aren't we?
The expression about hell freezing over mean anything to you?
But he keeps at it.
I'm wearing you down, huh?
Yeah, like a virus.
And then we get some pointless drama about one of Joe's classmates.
No, Lori, I'm pregnant.
Who gives a shit? And then Joe goes back to annoying the shit out of Lori, but she holds strong.
No, just don't.
Oh, nope. Spoke too soon. I guess that Modine charm finally wore her down. And then we get some more pointless drama when we find out that Joe's roommate is taking amphetamines. Who cares? And then Joe has a talk with not Sigourney Weaver, who doesn't think that Joe's living up to his potential.
But your college grades were just mediocre. You could do a lot better than that if you tried. You know it, and I know it.
And then Joe starts stalking Lori again. But Lori kind of has someone on the side.
This is Jerry, Fanning Forrester, a friend. Jerry's driving me home for the holidays.
So Joe has jealousy sex with this rando skank. And the next day at class, shit gets a little awkward.
Hey, how's Jerry?
Joe.
You know, I bet he's a nice guy, I can tell. You know, I think maybe it's his linen pants.
And then after about another 20 minutes or so of boring-ass filler, we get some more pointless drama when Joe's roommate gets kicked out of school over his little amphetamine habit.
Call the health clinic. Go to Dr. Doc.
I'll see you.
And then Joe decides that any college that expels a drug addict is too good for him, so he quits school and goes home.
Take it easy. What are you gonna do, invite me to leave? Huh? Don't bother. I left 5 minutes ago.
He goes for weeks without talking to me. Maybe he don't talk to you.
Always in difficult situations, he's always talking to you, always come through. You're wonderful.
But after a while, and for reasons I could never comprehend, Lori actually starts to miss Joe. So she tries to get him to come back.
What are you afraid of? You just have to ask for help, which means admitting you need help.
And then we learn the cold hard truth, that Joe just really doesn't give a shit.
The truth is, I don't really care about medicine.
Really? After all that shit you went through just to get accepted into medical school, not to mention the thousands upon thousands of dollars to pay for said medical school, you just don't give a shit? What an asshole. And then Joe finds out that not Sigourney Weaver has a touch of lupus.
She has uremia.
What caused that?
Rumors say lupus.
It's never lupus.
Well, it is this time, Dr. House. So Joe goes and pays her a visit. And they have an emotional heart-to-heart.
Worked so hard, trying to turn my best students into perfect doctors. Oh, now I just wonder about some of these brilliant doctors of mine. What they'd say to some lonely, terrified patient who grabs their hand and says, Can you explain this to me? Can you help me accept this? I made doctors, Slovak. People need healers. Do you understand?
And I guess that convinces Joe to go back to school.
Miles, what have you done to Harry? He's a mess.
Much to everybody else's disappointment. And so the team is back together and hard at work.
Branches from the left corner, except for the posterior limb.
And after Lori has a mental breakdown,
And then we have 4 more years of residency. I'm gonna be 30 years old by the time I'm a doctor. And I smell. And you guys smell. And I'm sick of being around people who smell.
it's time for the pregnant side character to crap out a kid.
You guys?
What?
Only the hospital's too far. And so it's up to Joe and the gang to deliver the kid.
Miles, give me your shirt. What?
And surprisingly, Joe doesn't fuck it up.
Look at that! You got a girl here, Kim.
And now it's time for the finals.
This is the 8:30 a.m. Gross Human Anatomy Final.
But first we find out that not Sigourney Weaver had just died.
Dr. Rachel Woodruff passed away at Hollyoak Hospital. She wished the very best for you.
And of course, old Joe is going to give it his all to honor her memory. And obviously he nails it.
I bet I did better than you, right?
On the written. But I beat your pants up on the practical.
And then he gets back with Lori and all is well. And that was Gross Anatomy, a boring, plotting, predictable film that pretty much proved to the world that maybe Matthew Modine isn't really leading man material. I mean, between this and Cutthroat Island, I'm surprised he even gets work at all. And I think the biggest problem of the film, I mean, aside from being boring as shit, is that Matthew Modine's character was just so smug and obnoxious the whole time that it was really difficult to even give a shit about him. I mean, yeah, there are actors out there who could pull off being arrogant and self-absorbed, but still be kind of likable. Unfortunately, Mr. Modine lacks those abilities. And as for the rest of the cast, I guess they did alright with the material they were given. Although I'm pretty sure this movie didn't do shit for Daphne Zuniga's career. And at the moment, I think it sits at 36% on Rotten Tomatoes, which to me actually seems kind of high. I don't know. I mean, maybe some of you out there who are big fans of the medical dramas might like it. I just thought it was shit. But anyway, folks, until next time, see ya.